Good morning, fourth grade, and welcome to your Thursday math lesson. We are on lesson 1.8, and we are on page 49 in your math book. We are doing problem solving, comparison problems with addition and subtraction. Our objective is that we're going to be using, in your actual It's Learning lesson, I said strategies to solve comparison problems with addition and subtraction. And I changed the wording from the book because in the book, as you can see, they're using diagrams that look like this. So since you're online, I'm not going to be able to see whether or not you're doing these diagrams, so I'm not making you do them. My main concern is that you will be able to know the difference when you read a word problem if you are supposed to add or subtract. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And eventually, you will be doing word problems where you might have to do both. So it's important that you look for those important key words in word problems that give you the clue about whether you need to add or subtract. So let's look at or unlock the problem. Hot air balloon festivals draw large crowds of people. The attendance on the first day of one festival was 17,350, so I'm underlining my numbers. On the second day, the attendance was 18,925. How many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day? So here are some key words. How many more people attended? So when I see the words how many more, that automatically means it's a comparing problem. We want to know the difference between these two numbers. So again, the word difference is your clue to subtract. So if you were to fill out this chart here, it helps you to break down your problem. What do I need to find? What do we need to find? Well, the difference between day 1 and 2, right? Then you would fill in with your numbers here, but it's all the way up there, so I'll have to scroll. Okay, so on the first day it was 17,350, and then 18,925 on the second day. Okay, so I already said we're looking for the difference, right? So that means we have to subtract 17,350 from 18,925. Okay, so what they do this bar model. So we put the larger number in the larger block and the smaller number in this block. And then we mark the difference between the two. So that is the number we are looking for. Now, if I were to subtract these two, 18,925, making sure that I'm lining up my numbers very carefully, 350. Okay, so 5 minus 0 is 5. I can't take 5 from 2, so I'm going to borrow from the 9. Make it an 8, and then that 2 becomes 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. 8 minus 3 is 5. Part of my smartboard doesn't work very well, so that's why there's some gaps there. 8 minus 7 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, so I'm going to leave the 10,000s place blank. So our answer is 1,575. 1,075 what? More people. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. All right, so once again, we're breaking down a word problem. During an event, a hot air balloon traveled a distance of 5,110 feet during the first trip and 850 feet more during the second trip. How far did it travel during the second trip? Okay, we want to know second trip. I'm going to underline that. All right, so we want to know how far the balloon traveled during the second trip. That's where what you would put in, what do I need to find? What information do I need to use? Well, we know the first trip distance, and we know that it traveled 850 feet more. Okay, so that word more tells me I need to add. So what am I adding? I'm adding 850 feet to 5,510. I'm going to do that in the solve the problem space. Okay, 5,110 plus, just taking a peek, 850. Okay. Okay, 0 plus 0, 0. 1 plus 5 is 6. 1 plus 8 is 9. So 5,960 what? 8. So that's our second trip. Okay, so all this lesson is about is making sure that you read your problem and you look for your keywords. That's really what all this is about, is read your problem. Now, a lot of times kids don't want to do that, but you have to. Otherwise, how are you going to get your answer, right? So that's really the key thing, is making sure you're reading closely. So I'm going to do this one, and this will probably be my last one before I go over your homework. Okay, hot air balloons, that's what we're all about today, are able to fly at very high altitudes. A world record height of 64,997 feet was set in 1988. In 2005, a new record of 68,986 feet was set. How many feet higher was the 2005 record than the 1988 record? So here's our diagram. So you can see that this one is longer. So I'm going to put my larger number here, 68,986. Then in our smaller box, 64,997. So we want to know this part. What's the difference? Which means, when I say difference, that means we're subtracting. So we have to subtract 64,997 from 68,986. So I'm going to write that over here. And once again, I'm being careful to line up my numbers. Okay. So let's look at our ones. 6 minus 7, we can't do that. Trying to fill in that gap. So I'm going to borrow from the 8, make that a 7. Then I'm going to put a 16 in place of the 6. 16 minus 7 is 9. Okay, 7 minus 9, I can't do that either, so I have to borrow again. So 7 becomes 17. 17 minus 9 is an 8. 8 minus 9, well, I can't do that, so I gotta borrow. I'm gonna borrow from my 8 next door, make it a 7. 8 will become 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. Put my comma. 7 minus 4 is 3. And 6 minus 6 is 0, so I'm gonna leave that blank. So that means the balloon traveled 3,989 feet higher than the 1988 record. Okay. So in your homework, I did take some problems from your book. Once again, you're gonna see this one actually. And I am using the problems as well, not this one, because they did it for you. So the main thing when you have these tables is you need to carefully read your problem. You may even want to underline it in your book. So on number 2, it's asking about Lake Ontario. So I'm not asking you to draw a model in your homework because once again, we're on e-learning, but I am asking you to solve it though. So it's asking about Lake Ontario. So I gotta find it on my table, and the number directly next to it is the number that you want. Okay, but make sure that you're labeling using square miles. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so that is it for today. Make sure that you are clicking on Start Test, and when you get to the last question, click on Complete Test and it will submit.